So your trigger finger, your index finger, just be careful you don't get that finger underneath the shaft. Okay? You want to keep it behind the shaft. Sometimes you get it under. It's pretty good for the most part, but every now and then you've got. Right. Sometimes that trigger finger gets a little bit underneath. Ball position looks good. Spine angle looks good. Stance width looks good. No offense, the aim is terrible. Okay.
Well, it's easier to fix the worse it is.
And that for people that do that, I've never seen anybody that didn't come over without. You almost have to. Because if your toes are left, your knees are left, your hips are left, your arms are not terrible, but your feet are too far left. Posture looks pretty good too. And the balance points look great. Alright, so we're just going to stay with tap and face just for a second. Alright, so that's your elbow plane. That club, if your hands or your club or both are above that line coming down, you're over the plane. Good. Let's watch. Well, that's not one that we want to look at. So there's a 492 on it. Well, you were consistent with your aim. Some guys that set up open still swing the club on plane, but for our benefit, we don't want you to do that. Okay? You just need to square up your feet, your knees, and your hips a little bit. Alright, back to plane. Sorry. Double plane. Alright, so what we just said is that club coming in above that line? The good news is you're not that far away. Probably about 4 inches from being perfect. If the shaft is parallel to the ground, it's just too high. It's too up. Why do you think it's up? There's two reasons. We've talked about this before. There's two reasons. What's wrong with that picture? I've got to teach you to teach yourself. You've got to learn to feel what we're talking about. This one. That's the top of your swing. We talked about this a little bit last time, remember? I watched your film the night before last. You're not far away from being good. It's pretty good. There's two flaws in that. Are you loaded on your right side? Are you enough behind the ball? Okay. Well, anytime that you don't load back, you can't load down correctly. This hip should be behind that line right now, and his left arm plane needs to be number 2. This is the second thing. The left arm plane's got to be. So his arm plane is too steep, and his hips are not deep enough behind him because he didn't get on his right side. You watch his takeaway here, he actually almost reverse pivots. Not quite, but almost. You understand that? I'll put a tour player up in just a second. I just want to stay with you just for a second. So anytime I see somebody's arm plane that high, you'd almost have to do a Jim Furyk to get that club back underneath. We don't want that many moving parts. We want less moving parts. Secondly, you've got a double whammy because you didn't load your hips. Your hips are going to be in the way. So your hips are working underneath you. So they moved off that line, right? And I always see that when somebody doesn't load properly. They get too lateral early, and now you got to back up to hit it. Look at your head. That's the only way you can get back to the ball.
I'd say, you hit 1,000 balls with a stick in your belt. It was,
Good.
if there's something simple, you give him the load. I mean, he'll work on it.
Oh, I don't have any doubt that they'll work on it. And I'll get ready to put him on the pro zone in just a second.
Maybe we need a program.
Alright. Fell asleep again. I got the number. It's 490 something. Alright, let's watch arm fling first. Alright, so let's draw a line, just to give you a better visual here. So I'm going to guesstimate where his elbow plane was at his rest. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with you here. I'm going to guesstimate, you can see where it is to his stomach. I'm going to guesstimate the same position. So here's your hands. Here's your club. Here's his hands. Here's his club. Here's how far he's got to go to get the club back on plane. There's that far. Remember how far you were out of plane a minute ago? Like I said, 4 inches. You make up that 4 inches right off the bat if you'd like to. We do. Watch. He's fighting to get it underneath there. He's just going to leave there. All right. Second thing is, let's watch the pivot. Let's watch the load. If I were to put you on the Bout golf system that has force plates, the average tour player is 85% into their right leg before their arms quit swinging. It's like a pitcher pitching off a rubber. You got to load this. You got to load this leg to have something to push with. If you're just turning in a circle, your hips you just soften the other angle, right? Was it 492? 482. You see it up there, tell me. About 492. 491. Let's do 493. There we go. Alright, so let's watch again. Can you tell he's loaded? He's on the inside of his right leg, but he's nonetheless into his right side. Let's watch yours. So if you turn your hips in a circle, like if you were turning in a barrel, and I've heard teachers say that, no good way to go. So his hip goes back that way, right off the bat. So he's not into his right side by the time he gets to the top. So now he's got to go back to left. Watch. He's pushing from right to left. They all go linear first. That's what gives them the space for the arms to drop underneath. You're going to go rotary first. And that's why you back out of it. That's why your biceps get left up. Eventually we're going to work on your footwork a little bit. But a lot of that is your backswing flaw. Watch how quickly you leave your back foot here. Watch his back foot. You see it rolling in, but his heel is still on the ground. Now it comes up. That's why you get up on that left toe. Okay, so just organizing this in your brain just a little bit better. Alright, so aim's pretty easy. Put a stick on the ground, get your feet, your knees, your hips, parallel the target. We got to come up with some key or feel, whether it's a coat hanger or with your arms in something like this, to feel like that your left arm and your shoulders and your hands are a little bit flatter. Just a little bit. That's right. That's it. Then we got to work on your transition a little bit. Actually, sorry. Then we got to get on your right side. We got to work on really loading the right side. Because that'll give you the feeling that you can push off the back foot into the front foot. All good players do. They all go right to left. You've got 2 feet on the ground. It's a double axis motion. You got to go from one leg to the other leg to turn. You shift to turn. Going back and going through. You shift, turn, going back. You shift, turn, going through. That makes sense? So the golf swing is linear and rotary. If you were swinging on one leg, it'd be all rotary. But you got 2 feet on the ground.
Hey, yeah, I mean, how much power is he losing by?
Ton.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get behind that golf ball.